3 or 4 degrees. And the more you kind of round that off, the more angle you'll have before it binds up. You definitely want some. And then this guy here, the landing gear support, it's a part for the pocket knife pipe, but you'll want to take a knife or the cutters here and cut it just below that little cross brace piece there, and cut it like so. You're separating it like this, and you'll need this piece here. Go ahead and you can discard this guy with the T on the end. What that does is that makes a perfect measurement. If you go down from the servo hole 90 degrees to the fuselage here, right in the middle of the servo hole, that's the distance down from the fuselage you want to poke your landing gear through. But we'll go ahead and do that at a later point. But save this guy, it's a little measurement device. Now we're going to go ahead and mark and cut the holes for the control horns on the aileron. And as you'll see with this airplane here, you'll want to put them about a 1/4 inch back from the hinge line at a slight angle so that they're angled in toward the servo. And it's about a 1/4 inch back, and I guess about an 1/8 of an inch in from the inside of the aileron. And it's real important that the hole for the horn is right at the back of the hinge line. Basically the front of the hole on the control horn is lined up with the hinge line. So most of the hole is actually behind the hinge line, but you don't want it to go any further back than the leading edge of that hole straight up above the hinge line, and that gives you perfect differential for this airplane. And it's real critical to do that. So how I do that is I actually can lay the horn flat on the aileron, give it the approximate angle I need. Okay, and the front of the hole is right at the hinge line. And then you'll see most of the time that puts it at a 1/4 inch behind the hinge line is where you'll have to actually cut your hole. And angle it toward the servo. And just press it in just a little bit. Press it and wiggle it, and it'll put a mark on the foam, a little indentation. Go ahead and do that on both sides. And what we have here is it's a 1/2 inch Blenderm tape. So half of the 1/2 inch is the 1/4 inch. So basically your horn starts where the Blenderm hinge tape ends. So it's from the tape back. That's that 1/4 inch. That'll give you that 1/4 inch. It's already basically pre-measured for you. As long as I centered the tape up to the hinge line, and I do a pretty good job, but we're within a 1/16 of an inch, I would bet. And what you want to do is take your X-Acto knife, new blade, and just put a slit, 2 slits actually, about a 32nd inch apart, so that the 1/16 inch ply horn, it's a tight fit. You want a nice tight fit in that guy. And press it in, make sure it goes through to the other side, nice and flush. Looks good and it's angled right. You can give it a little bit of a twist at this point. Get that angle just right. You may want to take a straight edge. And what you're aiming for is where the horn's going to be, the aileron horn. Close enough for now. I'm going to pull it out and do the other one. Looks good. I'm going to remove the horns. We don't want to glue them in right quite yet. But we do want to get the holes made. And the next step will be to go ahead and glue the aileron servo in. And what we have here is a Futaba S3154 digital. The 3114 will also work. But if you buy my works package, the Futaba 3154 digital is the aileron servo. And with this airplane here, probably not ultra critical here, but you kind of go by preference, is I'm going to have my receiver on the left hand side of the airplane along with my speed control, and then the battery will go on the opposite side of the speed control and receiver. And there will be a hole through the fuselage where the transfer from the wire, the battery hookup wire from the speed control to the battery, goes through the fuselage. It kind of counteracts the weight so that it has a good lateral balance. And you may need to adjust that later, but this is a good start. So we have the aileron wire coming out on the left-hand side of the airplane. And when you drop the wire through, make sure it goes to the left-hand side of the airplane. Left-hand side, and then of course the horn output, it's forward on this one. So the horn is forward. Okay, so the wire's coming out on the left-hand side on the bottom. Real delicate, but push the servo in, flush. Looks good. Now that we got the servo pushed in there nice and tight, we're going to go ahead and put some drops of foam safe CA just around the outside edge of the mounting tabs. And we're going to put a little drop, maybe 2 drops on each side. Couple drops on the mounting lugs, mounting tabs. It's also important here to make sure that you're using the a horn that's at least an inch and 3/16 between the 2 outside mounting holes. It's almost an inch and a quarter there. We need at least that long of an arm to get enough throw in the ailerons, and you want to get that mounted now before we mount the top fuselage brace on. It's also important to make sure that the servo is centered, so that we don't have to take this arm off anymore. And I've already hooked it up to the radio, centered the sub trims and the trims, and turned it all on and got the arm so that it's 90 degrees to the servo itself. And just like when we mounted the bottom, you want to take your fingers and just kind of round off the tabs here a little bit, make it a little easier to slide the top fuselage portion into the holes. And this is probably one of the more difficult parts. Is this little area here is with the servo cut out. It's actually kind of thin and a little bit flimsy. Now you don't want to force on that. It wouldn't be too hard to break that at this point. So, oh, and we also need to cut a relief. If you can see here where this guy lines up, those mounting tabs are going to interfere just a little bit with this top fuselage brace. So we need to cut out just a little bit of this guy. You'll see this before and after shot here. There's a good before shot. And I'll go ahead and cut 2 little reliefs here for the mounting lug, the servo mounting lug.